Hello. Thanks for tuning in to Micki's Musical Musings, a podcast where I will share some things I learned in therapy and apply it to the life of a creative, all in the hope that it helps both me and you have a healthier relationship with our art. And I reserve the right to change this podcast description later. Now, I don't have all my ducks in a row. I'm okay with calling this episode 1, I think. But what I do have now is a theme song. So this may sound familiar as it is an extended version of my YouTube channel jingle. And you know, I'm actually really happy with this. I wrote this honestly a couple months ago, lost my podcast momentum, and then I just listened to it again this morning and I was like, this is a bop. Anyways, today I want to riff about values for a minute. Also, there's an echo in this room. It's very echoey. Okay, yeah, sorry. I literally had to pause and fix this. And it's not fixed, but I currently have a towel on top of my head, running from my head to the top of my laptop screen. And I do think it helped a little bit with this whole sound thing, but you know, we've got to continue on. We've got to live our lives. Life is full of problems, and we're going to touch on that later. But right now, in talking about values, we need to start with decision making. Now, I'm in a bit of a special case scenario here because I have a chronic illness. And if you know anything about ME/CFS, among many other things, I've seen hell. Okay, I've lost autonomy. Is that the right word? Independence. I've had no choices at some points during this illness. But in this, and like everything in life, there's lessons to be learned and a mind that you've got to sort out. But yeah, I have felt incredibly restricted and I was sad. But throughout all of this is choice, you know, energy being currency, which is true for everyone. You know, time is money. But for me, it was like a walk, you know, a walk for your mental health. Well, I don't have the spoons for that, so I gotta sort myself out within my brain. Or like visiting a friend, like that would take some energy, or a task like emailing or filling out a form, that's energy. So it becomes this or that. And again, you might not relate to this, and that's okay, but bear with me because I've done a lot of therapy and a lot of therapy type things, and one of these things is self-discovery work. And in this work, you kind of sort of learn what you value. Right now, I value air, so I'm going to take this towel off my head and just deal with the audio problems later. Okay. So in my therapy, we talked about values, and there's this lady, I think I mentioned this in episode 0, Brene Brown, who's kind of a teacher in this area. And she has online, if you Google Brene Brown and values list, she has a list. So if you Google this and you look through these words, you're supposed to pick which ones you think suit you or that feel like they ring true to you. And it's kind of like a quiz in a way. Like, do you remember those magazines when you were a kid and it's like, are you this or that? Or, you know, figure out what you are. Like, are you an autumn? I guess that's like kind of like this whole color analysis thing. So not like that, but like one of those quizzes where it's like, find out if you're a pineapple pizza or like a grape soda. You know what I mean? Oh man, these birds are really, really after it today. So it's fun, and don't be a perfectionist. I definitely am, and it gave me a little bit of anxiety, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't pick the right value? What am I gonna do? But don't fret, because I did the quiz and then I also did it a year later, and I kind of picked out the same value. So you're you, okay? So don't stress about that. But yeah, today I want to dive deeper into this because recently I've kind of seen how this can kind of be life-changing. So here we go. We're going to go a bit deeper now into decision paralysis and logic. Do you suffer? Do you suffer from decision paralysis? I do. Oh my gosh. I mean, just ask any ex-boyfriend that I've had. I would be annoying, you know, what do you think of this? Or do you think I should do this or this? I do remember specifically once asking my friends what day I should book my flight home for Christmas. And this is like second, third year university, and I'm like, what day should I book this flight? I don't know. And it's just like, oh, I look back on that and I'm so annoyed. Like, I'm annoyed. Like, you can be annoyed with yourself with these indecision, you know, moments. Like, I remember which room in the music school I was sitting in when I was calling these people trying to make this decision, and I'm annoying. I still find it annoying. Many years later, this annoys me. And yeah, don't even get me started on like big artsy decisions like album making. My God. And even now, like, I've gotten better, but there's a certain awareness of my lack of logical thinking skills. For example, on my Hinge profile currently, I describe myself as a kite in the sky looking for someone to tether me to this planet. So I'm self-aware, but I think as a creative who's definitely undiagnosed with something or other, it's just really nice to know that if you do enough self-work, you can unearth this logic, because apparently we all have it. Before I did this work, and when I didn't have a boyfriend to bother, I did become a list maker. Procon List was my go-to, but they can only take you so far. And then there's the crippling fear of the wrong decision. You know, recently I've just felt like I don't want to learn another life lesson, you know, especially with a chronic illness, because later you've got to kind of pay for it. In therapy, they use this analogy: if you borrow from the mob, you'll have to pay back with interest. So that's kind of a little metaphor for what it's like. But yeah, in art, it could be, you know, making the right decision on who to hire or where to record, and, you know, decisions that have a kind of financial cost to them are kind of higher stakes decisions. So pro-con list can only go so far. You know, your fear's getting in the way, but there's another way. There is another way to analyze if it's a good decision or if you can live with it. And I'll get to that key thing in just a second. I feel like I should break for commercial or something. Anyway, validating yourself. Could that be the answer? No. But, I think it's a part of it. It's like kind of like trusting yourself. Like when in our lives, from when you were a kid, where did you stop trusting yourself or, believing that you could make good decisions, I've recently been watching this show called MasterChef. And I'm, again, late to the game. I'm watching pretty old seasons. But these people are inspiring, okay? They believe in themselves. Some of them announced that they quit their job to pursue this dream of being on MasterChef, which is a bit delulu. I love it, though. And then I watched a season where it was kids in the kitchen. And their excitement, it was contagious, okay? Here's a little anecdote. There was this little girl who was like definitely the front runner in this competition. She's like the shortest one. Anyway, I found her energy and her drive and her passion very inspirational. And she was making this Sri Lankan food because she's Sri Lankan. And it was this curry. She made like a bunch of curries and it looked amazing. And I then kind of, adopted this belief, adopted this kind of, excitement and, delulu that maybe I could do that too. So I decided to make a Sri Lankan curry with a Pinterest recipe. And I didn't have any of the right spices. So I was looking up what was in this like masala or some kind of spice mix, and I didn't have a lot of it. So I was like, what's similar to mint something? Peppermint oil, which I use sometimes in ice cream. So I was like making this spice mix from scratch, and I put in peppermint oil and like orange peel, and you can imagine it went awful. But like I was so excited the whole time I was making it, and I even like tried to make some gluten-free naan and like all of this, and I didn't even taste the curry until I had made the naan. I made the rice. I'm all excited. It looks amazing. This kid in this show has inspired me to do something new, and I'm sick of what I'm eating. Like I'm sick of eating beans, I'm a recent vegetarian and I'm just really sick of beans. But then I tasted this curry and it was the worst. Like it was inedible. I could not. I tried. Oh, I also even tried to make that side. It was like a cucumber yogurt something. And I used like this almond yogurt, and then I also put some mint oil in there, and oh my gosh, I can't even talk about this. Like talking about this makes me nauseous. Anyway, so yeah, inspiration is a key. I don't know where I'm going with this. Validating yourself. So is it about trusting yourself? Well, clearly I could get all the inspiration and trust, but I'd still have a terrible result. With this decision paralysis and this lack of logic and this lack of believing in yourself, or, the lack of being able to validate the decisions you make and the second guessing, it's like, even if you make the decision, you can still be like, oh my gosh, was this the right decision? This can be a cycle of ruminating, if you will. So let's get back into the value stuff. And this is the key here. You can stop listening now. The key is using your values to aid in your decision making. What? Yes, it's that simple. Mind-blowing though. I was baffled. Like I figured out my values like a year ago, but I didn't think about actually like putting it into practice until like this year. This self-growth thing, I gotta say, it takes a long time. But it's really started to help me not only in my personal life, but my creative life. Because I think people think creatives are just in a la la land. You're making your art and you're happy. and you're like finger painting your walls. No, it's like, we've got shit to do. We've got decisions to make. Who's going to be your music video director? Or in my case, I'm a project leader for an album. Who am I going to hire? What studio am I going to go to? What songs am I going to pick to be on the album? You really need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in yourself so much that you can get others to believe in you. And then you've got to hold on to your belief in yourself while you go through this process, which is tumultuous, and things don't go right, and life happens, and you're booking, hiring, buying microphones. And oh my gosh, I have a story about buying microphones, but maybe later. That's not a story for another day. Or you can be juggling. I mean, you have a current project going on, but it's never as simple as the current project, because we all have a backlog, a bucket list, if you will, of projects or albums, or an array of activities like a YouTube channel or a podcast. But which projects align, which decisions best align with who you are, and how can making these choices become easier? With my recording project example, can be as small as like, oh, I need a sample of something. Do I go record a real seagull because it's copyright free and it's an adventure, and that might be something that I value? Getting outside, being in nature. Anyway, but when things go wrong, right? When you're standing outside and you're trying to record this seagull, but you're, off of a major highway and you can't hear the seagull at all, that's where you're like, maybe this wasn't the greatest decision. However, if you really owned that decision and you were like, okay, I made this decision, I know it aligns, at least I'm outside in nature, enjoying getting a little sunshine, and even if you didn't get the sample, you can still be like, well, I enjoyed trying, or I enjoyed the experience, or it's like you can live with yourself more rather than just grumbling and being like, oh my gosh, this didn't work. It's like, no, there's the at least I made a decision that aligned with my values. And I don't know, it's just like a little cushion. It's like a little pillow, if you will, to cushion the fall of when shit goes bad. Because it will, okay? Because there is always bull. I mean, seemingly that's what life is, a series of unfortunate events, and you need things to hold on to. And this has brought me a lot of comfort. Another cliche is you only have so many fucks to give, okay? There's a book for that. And I actually bought that book and I never finished it. And that's how many fucks I have to give. I feel like, in a way, that was like a graduation, It was like, oh, I learned I don't need to waste time even thinking about or reading about the fucks I need to give. Anyway, what matters to you? Okay, you should pick a list of values, okay? I'm gonna read some that made it onto my list of, 15 to 20. Fun, generosity, health, independence, loyalty, spirituality, balance, authenticity, okay? So you make this larger list and then you keep weeding it down. Okay, and for me, this was a horrible process because I was like, oh, but I value this. No, you can find a way to also put things in like umbrellas, like umbrella categories. And I think that's what helped me find the big three, like top three words. Yeah, and I feel like I'm a bit of a expert at this now that I've done this a couple times. And I did it last year, and I did it again this year, and I landed on the same ones. So you, don't worry about that. But yeah, my top three are adventure, connection, and achievement. Oh, now, bleh, I hated the sound of this last one because to me, I have associations with it, okay? It sounds condescending to me, a little bit of barfy, a little bit pretentious. Like my association with art galleries, you know? Like I don't like them, but when I do my own stuff there, they seem less stuffy, you know? There's nothing wrong with them. It's just my association with them, and I can't really explain where that came from, but that's just how I feel. Anyway, so this is where you change the word, or you get the thesaurus out, okay? There's layers, okay? So I did eventually change this word achievement to realizing creative projects because I think I like creating, but if I just created and that was that, I think part of the joy for me is finishing something, you know, like when I have put in the work and actually made a finished product, you know, there's joy in that. And then there's even more joy when it's done, because if you put all that work into it, you might as well share it. You know what I mean? And then there's the joy you get from sharing it with others. So I think achievement to me is the creative realization of a project, okay? Anyway, if you're having issues, you know, again, umbrella it. My connection umbrella under that is love or friendship or intimacy. Like I loop all that into connection. Spirituality, I think, is also in this connection, like connection to earth or, you know, God or whatever. So yeah, picking these don't have to feel tumultuous, basically. And then looking back, like I think after picking your values, you look back on the decisions you've made throughout your life that, you know, you always had these values. Maybe you didn't follow them exactly. You know, I ended up at UBC because of a boy. Because I was, my first crush was going there and I was like, oh, maybe I should go there. You know, and that was me fulfilling my connection or trying to fulfill my connection value. Obviously, school and education, you know, I should have, like, if that would have been a value and then I went to school to fulfill that value of learning, that makes more sense. But, you know, I'm a bit like that. I'm just a girl, and I think I'm also a bit roundabout, you know what I mean? But I still found a way to find myself through those, you know, value adjacent moves, if you will. And I think also in your early 20s, I think you're putting yourself in situations where you might be the odd one out. And I think that also had some perks for me creatively because I felt this melancholy with that. That really drove a lot of my songwriting. So, you know, some of these value adjacent decisions are okay, and, you know, it'll work out in the end. And, you know, I might tell you some more of my life story later. It's funny to look back on how you moved throughout your life, but I'm even more excited now moving forward, looking forward. I'm excited for less stress. I'm excited to have this pillow to fall back on. You know, you can be inspired by art, you can make your Procon list, but then you also have your pillow of values when you're making decisions. And I'm excited to use that moving forward because I think it's going to be, and it already has been, pretty exciting, pretty life-changing, I would say. I think with a chronic illness, it's easy for your generic to-do list to become your life. And I think it's because like such small things in life and such small tasks, like calling your doctor or scheduling, like those things become the big things. And in therapy, one lady said, "You're more than your to-do list." And I was like, oh, you're right. I am more than my to-do list. And my to-do list will never be done. And I think that's another thing to realize is these little things that you have to get done throughout your life. Like there's not going to be a time where you check all the things off and you're done, like you're sorted. Like this admin, your life admin never ends. So I think you know, now that I have this kind of perspective switch, it's like, okay, I'll give myself an hour maybe to do all these things, admin things, and then you just cut yourself off because it's never going to be done, you know? And then spend your spoons or whatever time you have left over on the things that matter and the things that align. And yeah, I've noticed, even I'm currently working on an album right now, spoiler, but I've also been dealing with decision making in this process where it feels scary, and I'm away from Toronto, I'm away from the kind of community I built there, so I'm reigniting my old Vancouver community and reigniting, you know, musical collaboration relationships, but also slowly branching out, dipping my toe into making new ones. And although it's been scary and like I'm afraid I'm making the wrong decisions, and in some ways I still have been making wrong decisions and learning. Wow, this is very like non-specific. It's fine. But I have found sometimes I can like look at a decision and see, oh my gosh, it hits not only one, not only two, but three. Okay? All top 3 values, and that's where I'm currently at. I might have left the 4 walls of my bedroom in my mother's house to see if I can handle less support and putting myself in a situation to be around more people, work on a creative project, have an adventure. So that's adventure connection, and I'm working on my project here with people. So I'm, you know, as much as I'm afraid or think that this could be the wrong decision, if I crash or end up back in the hospital, you know, at least it hit all 3 of my values, and I can just sit in that, you know, just cushions the blow. You know, if things go awry, I can live with that, knowing that I'm living a life aligned with my values. You know what I mean? Anyway. Okay, so this has been episode 1, I suppose. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, go live. Go forth. Look up this list. And I'll tell you more life stories later. Okay, bye.